Well, so let's talk about newsletters right away because you are famous for newsletters, and newsletters are going this real big resurgence right now. So people primarily know you from your company, The Hustle, which is a giant newsletter, and at its core, it's just an email newsletter you send out every day. Um, how did you start that? What is the story behind it? Why a newsletter?
A lot of the stuff that I started was because of you, because of Nevblog. I don't even think copywriting course was a thing, or it was, but it was nevblog.com, I think, right? I
Yep,
don't think you had copywriting course in
Nevblog.
2013. And I saw a video of you and Noah, and I learned about copywriting, and I was like, oh, email, that's kind of cool. And I was hanging out with Jack, our buddy, Jack Smith, and I was thinking of which company to start. And I knew that I wanted to do something that I could build lots of companies on top of. And I knew I didn't want to create a blog because getting traffic to a blog on a consistent basis is challenging, particularly when Facebook is changing their algorithm all the time, and so is Google and whatever. And I learned email was popular from you, or not popular, but like consistent. And I go, well, what if I just build up this massive email list and build businesses off the top on top of that? And I was sitting with Jack, and we were at a Panera, and I was like, hey, check out this math. If I can get 1 million subscribers and talk to them every day, that's like 30 million impressions a month. I think I could do that. What happens if I get 5 million? Wow, that's 150 million a month. I can do that. I don't know. Just that was just kind of how we figured out.
Now, why did you think about that in context of a newsletter? Why didn't you think about like, what if I get 1 million Instagram followers or something?
The way, so I have a big tattoo on my thigh here of a pirate ship, and the idea with the pirate ship is every email I get is a little bit of win in our sales. So the thing about email, my everything in my life I try to make like a pirate ship where I can do whatever I want. For the people who I care about, they can be on board. We do whatever we want. The people who aren't on board, I don't give a shit about. They can do whatever they want, but I don't care about them. And when we thought about Instagram, first of all, I didn't care about Instagram. I still don't. But second of all, it's like building a store in a building where the landlord jacks up the rent every 18 months or something. And that's why. And so we knew that, like, what's the biggest thing
Ooh,
that's changed with email in the last 20 years? Like the promo tabs.
yeah.
Like, it's relatively stable. It doesn't change that much. I didn't know how to code, so I couldn't do an app. And so that's why.
Wow, I'd never heard it talk about in that way. It's like,
What,
yeah,
like a store?
yeah, that's a really good analogy.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, like, what's the average Facebook reach right now? Like 4% if you have 1 million
Well, it
followers?
used to be really
It
high.
used to be 50% or
Yeah.
90. It probably was 90 and then 50. And then now it's, I think, 4.
I'm part of like 100 groups. I check like essentially just yours, and that's it every once in a while. I don't check any of the other ones anymore.
Yeah. So it's like your reach decreases all the time. And if, like, particularly when we're talking about politics right now with the election, if you lean one way or another way, there's potential that Facebook could be like, up, you're out. So it was very obvious early on that email was better than the other platforms.
Would you start a newsletter again today if you were going to start it all over again?
Yeah. Yeah, I would. I would have focused on social channels more than I did.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that everyone emails are all hyped right now, and they say, well, to build a media company 2001, you need it, or a media company 2001, you need an email, you need this. It's like, dog, I started doing this in 2014, kind of like in order to have a killer media company in 2021. You should have started with an email in 2014 or even sooner, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would still what we did and what others did will work today. It will be harder though. It's a lot harder.
Hmm. So right now, I feel like email newsletter. It's like back in the day, like everyone and their mom had a blog at some point.
Yeah.
Now it's like everyone and their mom has an email newsletter, which to me is like kind of funny. What do you think of something like Substack?
So if you just want to make a little bit of money, like under $5,000 a month, I think Substack is awesome. And you don't want to work that hard, or I mean, you want to work only on creating your content, and you don't want to do a significant amount of marketing. I think it's good. If you want to do a lot of marketing and you want to grow it to be north of $10,000 a month in revenue, I would say don't use Substack. And I like the Substack guys, and I think it's fantastic. But if you like want to be a journalist and have people pay you, then yeah, okay, maybe do that because the people will buy your stuff probably. But if you're trying to do like for example, copywritingcourse.com, is it still the landing page with your face?
Yep,
Okay, you can't do that on Substack. You can't
true.
like put like a sales page, and you can't customize that. So I think that's kind of silly, and for that reason I wouldn't do it.
Huh. I think it's a great way to start off, but my
Yes.
prediction is that all the Substack people, so let's say there's like a guy working at Amazon, he's really high up in the artificial intelligence division or something, bless you. And then he starts a Substack, he gets a couple of followers, and he's like, wow, this is awesome. Then he has to keep doing it over and over and over, which, as you know, is kind of hard.
That's another thing that's going to happen with these Substackers is they're like, oh, it's so easy. I'm going to say my opinion once a week. Do that for 3 years. And
it gets tough.
It gets hard. It gets hard. It's hard every single time, I should say. Like, it's just like exercise. It's like, you know, you're going to build this big old gym. It's like, are you actually going to use that every single day for 5 years? If yes, then yeah, do it. But you're probably going to quit after a while. And that's why all these journalists are quitting to do it. And I'm like, you know what was awesome about working at the New York Times? PTO. You know what I'm saying?
What is PTO?
Paid time off.
Oh.
Sick days, vacation, insurance.
I've never had a job. So
yeah, it's like when you don't show up to work, you still get a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
What they're going to learn is that it's a lot different. And so some will like it, many won't, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing. I think they're all going to start moving to their own blogs at some point, though. Especially the ones that get bigger. They're going to be like, wow, I can't just do Substack.
Substack takes 10%.
I think that's okay when you're getting
monthly?
started, but after a while, that's going to be
That's
a lot.
What I'm saying.
Yeah.
So if you're making $10,000 a month, you're paying them $12,000 a year.
Okay. Well, good luck to all those people. I think some of them are really good. I'm glad that there's more content on the
I agree.
on the internet coming out, because I feel like there was a kind of a lack of it. Like there's a lot of YouTube stuff coming out, and that's great because I watch a lot of YouTube, but I feel like there's a lack of kind of like really good articles coming out on the web.
I agree.
And Substack is kind of like did what Google AdWords did for web pages back in the day. It made it profitable to start putting out really quality articles.
Yeah, and I think that's fantastic. So I think it's a good gateway drug.
Yeah, I love that all these like high level programmers and stuff are starting Substacks. I'm like, this is amazing information. Yeah,
I 100% agree.
cool. So good luck to all those people. I love it.